The galactic Concord Hall floated in open space near a pale blue star. The star was calm and old. Its light passed through the wide crystal ceiling of the hall and spread softly across the chamber. The hall had existed for longer than most living species could remember. It was built by minds that believed the galaxy needed order. Inside the hall, the air was controlled and steady. Gravity shifted gently from place to place to suit different bodies. Seats of many shapes curved around a large central platform. Some seats were carved from stone. Others were fields of light or pools of warm liquid. This was the heart of galactic rule. Leaders from across known space were present. Some had ruled empires for thousands of years. Some commanded fleets that blocked out stars. Some ruled through trade, others through fear, others through tradition so old it no longer needed force. They had gathered to discuss a minor matter: humanity. To many in the hall, the name itself was strange and new. Humans had appeared suddenly, or so it seemed. One day their star systems were marked as isolated and quiet. The next, their ships began to appear on trade routes and relay stations, not as conquerors, not as warriors, just as helpers. A low murmur moved through the hall as the human delegation arrived. There were only 5 of them. They walked onto the central platform together. They wore simple dark clothing made for comfort, not display. There were no bright colors, no symbols of rank, no weapons. Their hands were empty. They stopped at the center and waited. Many eyes watched them, eyes that glowed, eyes that reflected light, eyes that saw in ways humans never could. Some eyes looked curious, most looked amused. A tall being with smooth silver skin leaned toward another delegate. "They are smaller than I expected," it said. A soft ripple of laughter answered. Another leader, its body wrapped in slow-moving mist, let out a sound like a sigh. "So these are the ones who wish recognition," it said. "They barely look ready to govern themselves." The humans did not react. At the far edge of the chamber, an ancient being of stone and fire shifted its massive form. When it spoke, the sound rolled through the hall. "They have traveled between stars for less than 200 cycles," it said. "We have cities older than their species." The amusement grew. The speaker of the conquered rose. The speaker was not a single body. It was a linked intelligence formed from many minds working together. Its voice came from the walls, the floor, the air itself. "Let the record show," the speaker said, "that the species known as humanity has been granted observer status. They have requested acknowledgement as a developing interstellar civilization." The pause that followed was brief. Then the mocking began. Not as shouting, not as rage, but as polite, controlled dismissal. The kind that hurt more because it pretended to be gentle. "You seek acknowledgement," said a winged delegate, its feathers glowing faintly. "But you command no major fleets." "You control no vital systems," said another. "No core worlds, no ancient trade lanes." "You offer no tribute," said a third, "and you issue no demands." A younger delegate leaned forward, eager to speak. "Perhaps they believe silence is wisdom," it said, "or perhaps they simply have nothing to say." Soft laughter spread again. The speaker turned its attention back to the humans. "You may respond," it said. The humans remained still for a moment. Then one of them stepped forward. He was a man with gray at his temples. His posture was relaxed. His eyes were clear. He looked around the hall, taking in the vast space, the ancient leaders, the quiet judgment. When he spoke, his voice was calm. "Honored members of the conquered," he said, "we thank you for allowing us to attend." He stopped. That was all. A murmur moved through the chamber. The stone and fire leader shifted again. "That is your answer?" it asked. "Gratitude." The human nodded once. "We have nothing further to add," he said. The speaker hesitated. "You may clarify your intentions," it offered. The human did not. He stepped back into place with the others. Silence filled the hall. It was not peaceful silence. It was the kind that made even ancient beings uneasy, the kind that suggested something unseen. Finally, the speaker spoke again. "Very well," it said. "Humanity will remain an observer species. This session is concluded." The lights on the central platform dimmed. The galaxy moved on. Other matters filled the chamber. Old border disputes, resource claims, long-standing arguments between powers that had argued for centuries. The humans were forgotten. Or so it seemed. They stood quietly until dismissed. Then they turned and walked away without another word. No threats followed them. No insults either. In a high observation ring far above the main hall, a minor analyst watched the recordings again. His name was Seven. Seven belonged to a species known for watching details others ignored. His people rarely ruled. They rarely fought, but they counted, measured, and remembered. Seven replayed the moment where the humans stood in silence. "Why didn't they argue?" Seven asked softly. A senior analyst beside him did not look up. "Because they are weak," the senior said, "and they know it." Seven did not reply. Instead, he opened a new data stream. Trade routes. Human ships appeared across the display. They were not warships. They were cargo vessels, repair platforms, communication nodes, small, efficient designs built for long use. "They are everywhere," Seven said. The senior analyst glanced over. "They provide services," the senior said. "Maintenance, logistics, software support, nothing important." Seven watched as a human vessel docked with a conquered relay station. It did not replace anything. It repaired a failing system, upgraded it, and left. Quietly. "How long have they been doing this?" Seven asked. "Decades," the senior replied, slowly, patiently. Seven felt a chill. Back aboard the human transport, the delegation sat together. The stars drifted past the wide window. One of the younger humans spoke. "They laughed at us," she said. "Yes," the gray-haired man replied. "Should we have answered?" another asked. "No," he said, "not yet." They returned home. Across the galaxy, nothing dramatic happened. No systems failed. No wars began. But small changes started to appear. A repair request took longer than usual. A navigation update was delayed. A trade algorithm adjusted itself, choosing a safer but slower path. Nothing broke. Nothing collapsed. But progress slowed. Seven noticed the pattern. He looked once more at the image of the human standing calmly in the center of the conquered hall. For the first time in his long career, Seven felt uncertain. The humans had not defended themselves. They had not needed to. Their silence was not surrender. It was patience. The days after the conquered meeting passed without noise. No messages were sent to humanity. No warnings were issued. In the records of the conquered, the session was marked as routine and unimportant. Outwardly, the galaxy continued as it always had. Ships moved between stars, trade flowed, communications crossed vast distances in moments, old empires watched their borders, young powers argued for influence. Yet small things began to shift. Seven noticed them first. Seven sat in a quiet analysis chamber surrounded by slow-moving screens of light. Each screen showed a different system, trade paths, energy use, repair requests, communication delays. At first, the changes seemed harmless. A shipping lane recalculated itself, adding a few extra hours of travel. A repair drone arrived later than expected. A medical supply shipment was delayed by a scheduling error. These things happened all the time. But Seven saw the pattern. The delays were not random. They followed invisible lines, lines that pointed again and again toward the same source. Human systems. Not failures, not sabotage. Pauses. Seven leaned closer to the display. "Why are these requests still pending?" he asked. An assistant checked the data. "They are marked as active," the assistant said. "No refusal has been logged." "Then why are they not complete?" Seven asked. The assistant hesitated. "Because," it said slowly, "they are waiting." Waiting for what? No one could answer. Across the galaxy, small species felt the change first. On a quiet trade world near the outer lanes, a merchant waited beside empty docks. His cargo was ready. His crew was paid. His route was approved. But the navigation update had not arrived. It was not denied. It was simply late. The merchant sent another request, then another. No response came. On a medical station near a binary star, doctors waited for replacement nanofilters. The filters were not urgent. The old ones still worked, but they were less effective. Patients healed more slowly. No alarms sounded. No emergency calls were made. On a mining world ruled by an ancient house, energy systems ran at 98% instead of full capacity. Nothing shut down, but output slowly fell. Profits dipped. No one panicked. Yet everywhere, the same quiet feeling spread. Something was slowing. In the upper halls of the Concord, leaders began to notice. A winged delegate reviewed trade reports and frowned. "These delays are increasing," it said. "Our margins are narrowing." A tall figure of glass and light replied. "Temporary fluctuations," it said, "nothing more." But even as it spoke, another report arrived. A core relay station had requested maintenance support. The request was acknowledged, but not completed. The speaker of the Concord called a private review session. Not all leaders attended. Many believed the matter too small. Those who came studied the data. "Human systems appear again and again," one said. "Why?" "They manage secondary infrastructure," another replied. "Support systems, minor networks." A third leader leaned forward. "Minor systems," it said, "do not cause galaxy-wide effects." The speaker remained silent. Far away, on a human-controlled relay hub, quiet activity continued. Technicians walked calm halls. Screens showed requests from across the galaxy. Each request was tagged, timed, and prioritized. No one rushed. No one celebrated. A young technician looked at a queue and frowned. "This request has been waiting," she said. "Should we process it?" A supervisor glanced over. "Is it critical?" the supervisor asked. "No," the technician replied. "Not yet." "Then it can wait," the supervisor said. "Maintain standard response." The technician nodded. Standard response. Across human space, the same phrase was repeated. No orders had been broadcast. No commands issued. Everyone already knew what to do. Back in the Concord, Seven was called to present his findings. He stood before a small circle of leaders, his voice steady but careful. "The delays align with human-managed systems," Seven said. "They are not refusing service. They are providing it at the slowest acceptable level." A murmur followed. "That is inefficient," a leader said. "No," Seven replied. "It is deliberate." Silence followed his words. "Are you accusing humanity of hostile action?" another asked. Seven shook his head. "No threats have been made," he said. "No agreements have been broken. All protocols are being followed." "Then what is the issue?" the leader demanded. Seven chose his words with care. "The issue," he said, "is that the galaxy depends on systems it does not control." The meeting ended without resolution. Still, concern spread. Messages were sent to human diplomatic offices. Polite inquiries. Requests for clarification. All were acknowledged. None were answered. On a human world, the gray-haired man from the Concord stood by a window, watching clouds move over an ocean. A message alert chimed. He read it once. Then he closed it. Behind him, another human spoke. "They are starting to notice," she said. "Yes," he replied. "Should we respond?" "Not yet," he said. Days passed. Then weeks. The delays grew harder to ignore. Emergency systems still worked. Life was safe. But growth slowed. Trade agreements strained. Old powers argued with each other, each blaming the other for unseen interference. No one blamed humanity. They were too quiet. Seven watched the galaxy hold its breath. He reviewed the original recording once more. The laughter, the silence. Only now did he understand. Humanity had not come to the Concord to ask for power. They had come to measure it. And they had learned exactly how much the galaxy relied on them. The realization settled heavily in Seven's mind. The silence was spreading, and it was no longer empty. The slowing could no longer be ignored. Across the galaxy, systems still worked, but they worked like tired machines. Everything responded just a little later than expected. Messages arrived moments late. Repairs finished hours after their usual time. Trade routes adjusted again and again, always choosing safety over speed. Nothing was broken. That was the problem. If something had failed, leaders could have blamed an enemy, a flaw, or bad luck. They could have acted. But this was different. The galaxy felt as if it were being asked to wait. In the Concord Hall, another private gathering was called. This time, many more leaders attended. The mood was not mocking now. It was tense. The speaker addressed them. "Reports confirm a steady decline in efficiency across multiple sectors," the speaker said. "No laws have been broken. No hostile acts have been recorded." A leader of sharp angles and dark metal spoke. "Our fleets are supplied," it said, "but resupply takes longer. This weakens readiness." A trade lord wrapped in gold light added, "Our profits are falling, slowly but steadily." Another voice joined in, lower and colder. "Our archives show a common factor," it said, "human systems." A murmur spread. "They manage secondary infrastructure," someone said. "Minor roles," said another. Seven stood near the edge of the chamber. He had been invited again, though some still questioned why. "Secondary does not mean unimportant," Seven said. Several leaders turned toward him. "Explain," one demanded. Seven took a breath. "Primary systems are visible," he said. "They are defended and watched. Secondary systems connect everything else. They handle updates, maintenance, timing, balance." He paused. "When those slow, everything slows." Silence followed. A winged leader's feathers dimmed. "Are they attacking us?" it asked. "No," Seven replied. "They are following every rule." "Then why does this feel like pressure?" another asked. Seven answered carefully. "Because dependence feels invisible until it is tested." The speaker considered this. "What do the humans want?" it asked. No one answered. Because no one knew. A decision was made. For the first time since the mockery, a direct delegation would be sent to humanity. Not an accusation. Not a threat. A request for explanation. The human diplomatic station sat at the edge of a calm star system. It was simple in design, clean lines, open space, no signs of defense. The conquered delegation arrived expecting tension. They found none. Human representatives welcomed them with calm expressions. No guards surrounded them. No alarms sounded. The gray-haired man from the first meeting stood waiting. "Welcome," he said. "We hoped you would come." The delegates exchanged glances. A tall leader spoke first. "Your systems are causing delays across the galaxy," it said. "Explain." The human nodded. "Yes," he said, "they are." The answer was simple, too simple. "Why?" the leader demanded. The human gestured toward a seating area. "Please," he said, "sit." Reluctantly, they did. The human spoke once they were settled. "We have not reduced safety," he said. "We have not cut access. We have not broken agreements." "That is true," one delegate admitted. "Then what is the issue?" the human asked. The question unsettled them. "You are slowing us," the tall leader said. The human nodded again. "Yes," he said, "we are." "Is this punishment?" another asked. "No," the human replied. "It is restraint." The word hung in the air. The gray-haired man continued. "When we came before the conquered, we were laughed at," he said. "Not because of what we had done, but because of what we had not shown." "We did not argue," he said, "because arguments change nothing." One delegate leaned forward. "Then why do this?" it asked. "Because," the human said, "you did not ask what we did. You only asked what we ruled." Silence filled the room. "We built systems," he said. "We fixed problems others ignored. We made things work together." "We did not do this for power," he said. "We did it because chaos destroys everyone." A delegate spoke softly. "You are proving a point." "Yes," the human replied, "but not the one you think." He stood. "We are showing what happens when we do less," he said. The delegates felt a chill. "You could do more," one said. "Yes," the human agreed, "we could." "And you choose not to." "Yes." "Why?" "Because the galaxy still stands," the human said. "Lives are not lost, that matters." The meeting ended without threats. No demands were made. But the message was clear. Back at the Concord, the delegation reported what they had learned. "They do not seek control," one said. "They already have influence," said another. 7 listened. Humanity had not raised its voice. They had simply let the galaxy feel the cost of ignoring them. As reports spread, fear mixed with respect. Not of attack, but of capability. 7 looked out at the stars. For the first time, the ancient powers understood. Human silence was not absence. It was choice. And the galaxy was finally listening. The Concord Hall was full again. Every seat was occupied. Leaders who had not attended in centuries were present. Delegates who once believed the matter unimportant now watched in silence. The crystal ceiling reflected the slow movement of distant stars, and the light felt heavier than before. The humans stood at the center of the platform. They did not change their posture. They did not look around. They waited. The speaker of the Concord rose. Its presence filled the hall, but its voice was calmer than it had ever been. "This session is called to address the role of humanity within the Concord," the speaker said. No laughter followed. No mockery. Only attention. A leader who had once laughed openly now spoke with care. "We underestimated you," it said. "Not your strength, but your purpose." Another leader followed. "You built what we relied on," it said, "and you asked for nothing." The gray-haired human stepped forward. "We did not build to be praised," he said. "We built because someone had to." The speaker listened. "You were silent when mocked," it said. "Why?" "Because noise would have changed nothing," the human replied. "Only experience teaches." A murmur moved through the hall. One leader spoke sharply. "You slowed the galaxy." "Yes," the human said, "we did." "Was that not power?" "It was responsibility," the human replied. "Power would have broken things. We chose not to." Silence returned. 7 stood among the observers. He felt something shift inside the hall. like an old weight being set down. The speaker addressed the assembly. Humanity does not seek rule, it said, yet their systems support us all. A pause. We propose a new status. The hall waited. Humanity will be recognized as a foundational species, the speaker said, custodians of shared infrastructure, partners in continuity. The word spread slowly. Foundational. Custodians. No throne. No crown. Recognition without dominance. The vote was called. Lights across the hall shifted. One by one, ancient powers signaled agreement. Some hesitated. None refused. The decision was unanimous. The speaker turned to the humans. Will you accept? The gray-haired man did not answer at once. He looked around the hall. Then he nodded. Yes, he said, on one condition. The speaker waited. We remain quiet, the human said. We do the work, others take the credit. Stability matters more than pride. The speaker agreed. So recorded, it said. Across the galaxy, changes followed. Human systems returned to full efficiency. Trade flowed freely again. Repairs arrived early. Growth resumed. But something had changed. Leaders spoke differently. Policies shifted. No one mocked quiet builders again. Seven returned to his work. He watched numbers rise and fall, but now he understood what they meant. Centuries later, historians would speak of this moment. Not as a war, not as a conquest, but as a lesson. Empires rose and fell. Borders changed. Names were forgotten. Yet beneath it all, human systems endured. They were repaired. They were updated. They were passed on. Children of many species learned a simple truth. The loudest voice was not always the strongest. Sometimes, strength was the choice to hold everything together. And humanity never reminded the galaxy of that lesson. They did not need to. The stars remembered.